Hey everybody, if you're looking for ideas for these Dollar Tree pumpkins, I've got news for you. We've got 3 ideas coming up for you right now. Hey everybody, welcome back to Row Country, and welcome if you're new. I have 3 Dollar Tree pumpkin DIYs. This is part 1 of a 2-part series, and we're going to start with that really pretty country farmhouse pumpkin that you saw there. These are the items that I have pulled to put together this pumpkin. Now, what we want to do is we want to remove the center of these pumpkins. They're hollow inside. For 2 of the DIYs today, I'm using mineral chalk paint, and I'm going to give these a really good coat. I'm doing it more for insurance on my part, okay? So for this first DIY, we're going to use these ribbons here, some of these florals, and these leaves from the Dollar Tree. Everything's from the Dollar Tree, guys, except for the glue out of my glue gun and also this burlap. This burlap is left over from a previous DIY that I did, and all I did was cut it into a square, and we're just folding it, really no rhyme or reason, and really not in a neat manner either, into the pumpkin and using some hot glue to hold it down where necessary. I grabbed a stick from my yard, hot glued that, and put that down in the center, and now I'm using some of these leaves from the Dollar Tree to sort of fill in kind of where I know I want the front of my pumpkin to be. Now I'm taking some more of those leaves and attaching them to that stick as well. And then you'll notice I have 2 of these yellow sunflowers that I'm putting back to back on this pumpkin. So one at noon and one at 6 o'clock, and then using some more of those leaves as filler and that stick to kind of glue them together. Now I'm going to start bringing in some of these smaller mums, which to me look like tiny little sunflowers, and they came on a stem from the Dollar Tree as well. And guys, this is the great part about a country farmhouse pumpkin like this. There is no rules. Put them where you think they're going to look best. Pull off some of that greenery and stick that onto the stem. Grab some ribbon, put it down inside, and guys, this is what it looks like. Okay, idea number 2 is a little bit of a departure from my personal decor. I found this fleece scarf at the Dollar Tree in this animal print, and I just knew I kind of wanted to stretch my imagination a little bit. So I went ahead and I trimmed off the edging on that. We don't need it. And then I sort of rolled it up onto the pumpkin to sort of figure out as far as I needed to cut. And then I just cut a piece off. Now I did measure in this manner, and I went ahead and cut everything at 2-inch strips. Now this is the type of material that you cannot pull apart. So you'll want to cut up all the way to the end of your piece, and then we're going to layer these onto the pumpkin. So we don't want this to wrap around the bottom of the pumpkin. We want to come down to the bottom and then finish it off there and like this. So just use your hot glue, and once you get that glued down, go ahead and trim it off. Use a finger protector, guys. This material soaks up the hot glue. I don't want you to get burned. That has happened, but you'll see here I'm trimming off the edges after they set up. We want to do this all the way around. So I start 9, 3, noon, 6, kind of like that, just across from each other. And then I start to fill in the pumpkin with these strips. So once you go ahead and get everything covered, make sure that your bottom is nice and flat. And this is what it looks like, even though it's not matching up perfectly. When you use this material, it just sort of becomes one piece. You really can't tell where you stopped and where you started your next layer. What I'm doing now is just sort of trimming off a piece at the bottom so that I can hot glue it and my pumpkin will sit nice and flat. Because I used burlap in my last little pumpkin, I'm using this little roller to remove any of the burlap that was left over. What this is going to be for me is more of a monochromatic, a real, coloring in terms of what happens in row country in the fall. So in the beginning of fall, we have this beautiful foliage, and then suddenly it's gone. And before our next or our first snowfall, it's just sort of brown around here. So what I decided to do was really bring in those browns. I brought in just a little bit of that burlap, just cut it into a piece and sort of tucked it down inside. And I'm using the burlap as really a flower frog, if you know what I'm talking about. It just kind of holds the stems in place for me, and I'm using these little pine cones. I think they're perfect for this. And then these brown cattails. Guys, this was another Dollar Tree pick that I picked up last year and just sort of held on to, but you can find these out there. And then I'm using some of the greenery and the grass that came with it, and one of these large burlap leaves from the Dollar Tree, and then I'm bringing in 2 of the oak leaves, so 1 large maple and then 2 of the brown little oak leaves to sort of sit it in the back. I decided to put in one of those little acorns, and here you go, guys. This is how this turned out. Got such a departure from my regular decor, but I think it is so pretty. Okay, everybody, so for our third DIY today, I did not paint this pumpkin, but I am using some blue jean material. So what I did was I kind of tucked it down into the leg, and now I'm sort of figuring out where to cut it. Again, there is no measuring here. I'm just going to cut it where I think is going to work best. And I'm just going to use some hot glue to sort of tack down the 2 sides of the leg to the bottom of the pumpkin. And then I'm going to cut away the seams because we don't want all of this extra bulk. So I just really took my scissors and cut away the seam like you sort of see me doing here. And then I just went in with my hot glue. Now, this is another one of those pumpkins where it does not matter where your seams line up, where they overlap, or anything else. This is another sort of country farmhouse pumpkin that I'm doing for my decor this year. Again, I'm sort of red, white, and blue all the time. So for me, bringing in the blue jean sort of as a neutral in this case is going to bring my fall decor together with some of those yellows and some of the oranges. And you know, that blue is really going to be an anchor color for me. So all I'm doing, guys, is using just some hot glue. I'm trimming away extra material as I go, and I'm tucking everything in so that we have a nice flat surface for the pumpkin to sit flat whenever I put it out on display. Okay, guys, so as you can see, I'm going more with the oranges for this pumpkin, and I've taken 3 just random sticks from my yard, and I'm putting them together and wrapping some twine around the bottom of that stem so that I can go ahead and finish it off. I'm going to just tack it down with some hot glue, and then I'm going to use these sticks as the stem for this pumpkin, sort of like I did with my first pumpkin in this video today. So just drop some hot glue on there and then press it down into the foam of the pumpkin. Let it set up for just a moment, and then I'm going to use my same sort of method here. I'm going to bring in some of my smaller flowers. These are the small little mums from Dollar Tree, and I'm pairing it with the larger orange sunflowers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm doing the same thing. So I'm going to go at noon, and I'm going to turn it, and then I'm going to come at 6 o'clock, and this time I have 2 more of these orange. Guys, these are just so pretty, these sunflowers. And then I'm going to go at the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock. All I'm really doing is finding a spot, putting one down, and then bringing another one directly across from it. That's going to sort of fill in that larger hole that we had cut out. And then I'm just bringing in some more of these mini mums, and then some of these orange tones and the yellow tones out of the little leaf stems that I picked up at the Dollar Tree and hauled recently in a haul. So I'm just gonna fill everything in there. Guys, I just want to take a moment to say hey to my returning subscribers. Guys, thank you so much for checking out today's video. Hey, if you are new here and you have not yet subscribed, please hit that button down below and become a member of the Row Country family here on YouTube. It really does help the channel. And also turn on your notifications, guys, because I heard recently that YouTube stopped notifying people, and you really want to know when I'm going to be dropping another video. This again is part 1 of 2-part series for pumpkin DIYs for you guys. So I just added a little more twine to that stem, tacked it off with some hot glue, and guys, this is how this one turned out. So here's a reminder, these are those staple Dollar Tree pumpkins. And guys, this is the result. I really hope that you like these 3 pumpkin ideas. While you're here, go ahead and subscribe and please watch another video. I'll see you in my next one. Part 2 is coming soon. See you then. Bye.